Time for the one you've all been waiting for. King Tower 2. Let the madness begin. Back when I first had the idea to do Mega Man and Bass as a series, this was the stage that I was most particularly concerned with. And I'm not just talking Mega Man either, but Bass too, because this stage has parts that are complicated for both characters. You wouldn't know it by this screen, though, as Bass can just quickly hop up on the right side. And in fact, it's a very easy go of things in the beginning, anyway. But that's all about to change, because we are coming up to a shutter, and this is going to become a recurring theme for this stage. Well, not the shutters, but the fact that this stage has quite a few bosses to deal with. We're going to put the energy saver on, because we're going to need it, and let's face the first of many here. And that first would be the King Tank. The one thing that people might not know about this fight is that you can disable the treads with Remote Mine. This is unnecessary in terms of beating him, but however, it does make the fight a lot easier to deal with. Another thing worth mentioning is, notice how the camera pans up whenever the head is shooting out its bombs. I want you to keep that thought in mind for about 10 minutes, because there's something very frustrating that happens a little later on in this stage. In the meantime, you can deal with the front with the Remote Mine if it's going to fire its jewel, and the back hatch, I really recommend the Ice Wall or Copy Vision, although Bass can do that little trick with just jumping up and shooting his buster too if you want. Honestly, it's kind of funny going back and watching over this footage, because I do take this thing on kind of wrong, to be honest with you. I don't even think I ever used the Copy Vision on the front jewel, which is so much easier because it'll divert the fire towards your copy instead of you. Believe me, it's easy to get picked off with a shot when it's pretty close up. Another thing that you're seeing me do wrong here is that I'm not actually focusing on the head next. You've already seen it twice already, and I do believe it's going to happen a third time, where I stick a Remote Mine to the front of the tank, like so, only for the head to decide to pop itself out instead. If I would have been playing this fight right back in the day when I was doing this fight would have been a lot faster. Still, he's finally going to catch on right there. Good job, me. And now we can worry about the other two parts, because this is really the order you should go. Treads, head, that should be 1A and 1B, really. And then just focus on the other two whenever you get the chance. It's not too complicated, but it's just such a battle of attrition sometimes. Oh, another mistake I'm making here is that I am way too far away from the back hatch. It usually only likes to open up when you're close to the back of it. So instead I gotta go all the way back to the front just to wait so I can go back to the back. Thankfully I do get lucky here and it opens up soon, and we will be able to get ready to finish this off in just another second or two. I swear, sometimes I just don't know what I'm doing. Ugh. Yeah, I saw the eye glow just then, and I also saw the now saving message pop up, and that's because by beating the King Tank, we just earned our first checkpoint of the level. Yeah, that's right, you don't earn checkpoints before a boss, you only get them once you've beaten a boss. Ugh. It's why I really recommend grabbing the one up in the treasure chest on the right, the other one up top being a fake, because this is a section that most players of this game, at least the first time through, are going to be redoing a couple of times over for reasons that are going to become clear once we get to the next screen. I also decided to equip the Super Buster part because the extra damage that we can do with it is very important. It's going to prevent a lot of things that could become issues from becoming issues. And oh boy, here we go. Notice that the platforms are further spread apart than they were with Mega Man. That makes this fight about as complicated, even though Bass has that double jump. But again, that Super Buster is going to make this a little easier once the King plane flies in. And here we go. To be quite honest, this fight is just so ridiculous in what you have to do. The thing you have to really watch out for are those flashing pellets for base, because they will blind the whole screen, and it's a lot harder to double jump onto a platform than it is with Mega Man to do a single jump onto a platform, because you'll know where the single ones are going to go to. Double ones, not so much. Another reason for equipping the double damage capabilities of the Super Buster is that he can take out the hands pretty quickly with it. And in fact, they are more than likely not going to become a problem if you focus your time on them. The same holds true for the Jewel Core, but as long as you're just aiming at that with the Buster, you can destroy that thing pretty quickly. You don't need to waste remote mine ammo. See, there the hands go. I don't know why I risked it there, jumping over the hand instead of just shooting it down. But after doing that, we shot down the king playing. Honestly, this boss fight is a deadly game of pat your head and rub your stomach, if you ask me, with the whole jumping between the spaced out platforms as you're trying to shoot at the boss. But thankfully, we touched down on solid ground. Get me out of here. Because we are on to the third and final section of the level. This one actually starts with kind of an annoying jump, too. You have to hop on this ice block quickly, and then hop off almost as quickly, or otherwise you're going to touch down on the spikes. The stage just doesn't feel like it lets up at times. This jump is kind of annoying with Mega Man up top, because you need the ice wall and you can't ride on the right of it, or you'll bonk your head on the wall and fall. Base can simply double jump over it. And once he takes out these last couple of enemies, he can get a quick little refill before another shutter appears. What's waiting for us on the other side of this one? Well, let's do a quick hop, go in, and find out. First part of the fight with King isn't even a fight at all. In fact, if you shoot at King while the shield's up, you're going to see your shots reflected back to you. Instead, you are supposed to dodge these X's that come flying out of King's chest plate. He's going to do this 3 times, and the waves come in the same order every time. Low, low, high, low, and high again. To dodge, all you really have to do here is single jump the low ones and double jump the high ones. Again, once you've done this 3 times, the first phase of this fight is over. Real quickly, I find Proto Man to be out of character in this game because he is so reckless. Now, the thing I didn't know about the King fight back when I recorded his base is that whenever you see him shoot his laser off, he is not going to bring his axe out. I wish I would have known it at the time, because I wouldn't have wasted so much lightning bolt ammo in trying to dodge an attack that never happens. Still, I'd have to get past King with a double tap dash, and as stated throughout the whole playthrough, I do not really care to use that. So instead of even trying to get past him, I'm just going to use the double jump, get lucky, and take this one. was taking that one last deep breath, and no, it's not because of the wily plot twist, but it's instead for what's waiting for us on the other side of the shutter. Because to me, this boss is inarguably the hardest part of the game, at least in the GBA version. Can you guess why? Let's talk about why this fight's legitimately hard at first, and that's this orb attack. It was 4 slow-moving ones for Mega, but Base gets one that is super fast, and you have to dash back and forth under it, and it is tough to take out in one go. Lightning Bolt or Remote Mine would do that just fine. The tank also charges to the wall, but the real problem in this fight are the bombs, as you see here. Notice something about how that camera is sort of not panning up when this move's going on? Yeah, that's the one attack that turns this fight from challenging to cheap. Because from the moment the bombs first appear at the top of the screen, if you aren't jumping, to when you get hit on the head, at least in the GBA version, you have a quarter of a second. That means you have half the amount of time you did to dodge the lightning bolt. And seeing as how I'm not psychic, that's kind of tough to do. It's what really makes this fight overwhelming. And even just watching it now, it really does annoy me because everything else in this game had been moderately fair until this point, but there's no doubt about it. On the GBA version, thanks to the camera not panning up, this is just easily the cheapest attack, and it's why you constantly see me going into the menu here and switching from the Super Armor to the Super Base Buster. I was just in panic mode 20XX for the majority of this fight once we got to the bomb part, because this guy had already cost me in 5 separate runs prior to this. But now that that last orb's out of the way, let's take this guy out and finish what was a 2-hour grind at long last. It was a run that was almost as good as Mega Man's, but came up a little bit short in the end, thanks to both limitations in the port and some of my own gameplay decisions, I'll admit. Oh well. I guess I'm just a little surprised, though, that Dr. Wily was the one behind this mess, at least until King decided to overthrow him and start that little rebellion. Base and I just might start a little rebellion of our own next time, on the final time of Mega Man and Base. Wily, you are going down. See you there.